Good afternoon, Christine Regan Lake here. Hope all is well. Today, I'd like to talk to you about discipline, structure, and accountability. So I think I mentioned in one of my other videos about the fact that after I came back from a Tony Robbins event, I wanted to make sure that I was going to be able to continue the momentum forward of everything that I had learned at his event. And so, I purchased his time of your life management system, and it was great. It took me through a whole series of exercises to help me get clear on what I wanted. But I found his process like very multi-layered. I just needed something simpler for myself. So what I ended up doing was I took a lot of his concepts and I put them onto like a sheet of paper. It was actually a form I created for myself. And so each of these boxes was a different category of my life. And that's where I had to give myself a title. What was the title of that category of my life? Like Effervescent Water Sprite, I think I talked to you about that, about my spiritual name, Magnificent Mother, fabulous, formidable financier, best-selling author, things like that, right? So each of these categories, these were the titles, and then these were my weekly action items. The right side was the definition with the ultimate vision of who I was to become in each of those areas, and the grading system down the center. And you can see that I have tons of these. How many weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and months, right? So let me just tell you that this was an amazing structure for me to follow. It was forced accountability. I had to grade myself every single week, like with like a red, yellow, or green. So green was I had made significant advancement in that category of my life that week. Yellow was kind of maybe I did something. Red was a serious problem. I didn't have any movement in that category of my life. And I have to be honest with you, I know this is like a peek into my type A driver. I'm actually recovered from that. I don't follow the system anymore. But the reason I don't need to do this anymore is because with all of these months and years that I did this, I was building those categories of my life out so that they became a natural part of it. Because when I started this, I didn't have a spiritual practice, but I wanted one. Now my spiritual practice is an organic part of my day. I don't need to put it on a piece of paper because I've already implemented it. My financial responsibilities in terms of keeping myself educated, listening to that stuff, it's an organic part of my day. I'm always learning more. I'm always listening to interviews. So I grew into the person that I decided that I wanted to become, but I needed the structure in the beginning. I needed the structure and the accountability and the discipline of forcing myself to make sure I was filling out the wheel of my life so that I had a balanced life, so that I had, it wasn't just like all work and family and nothing else, but it was this structure and this discipline and this and the routine and the regiment that I embraced to close the gap, right? So if you know that there is a big gap between the human being you are right now and the human being you want to be, it means you have to, the bigger the gap, the more kind of structure and discipline and accountability you need, because it's not just a small tweak. If it's a big gap, it's important. So there's a lot of categories in my life where I'm really, the gap isn't big, I'm always tweaking and I'm always looking to up level, but a lot of categories I feel fulfilled and I'm joyful and it's working for me. Right now for me, the biggest gap is my physical body, rebuilding my body after being very sick. That's for me. Now I've got to embrace some more discipline, accountability, and kind of regiment to be able to build back my body and build back my health and get myself to close the gap between where my body is right now and the ultimate vision that I have for it. So the question I would ask you is, if there were certain categories of your life where there's a big gap between where you are and where you want to be, what systems or structure or accountability are you putting in place to make sure that you're going to start closing that gap? Because if you don't set yourself up to succeed, you're setting yourself up to fail. So think about the areas of your life that you really want to make the biggest improvements in terms of the categories of your life where if you tweaked this, that would make a huge shift. Like, you might have your money and finances are really solid, but your spiritual practice is really weak, or your spiritual practice is amazing, but your eating is crap. So think about what categories of your life would really benefit the most from up leveling at this point, and then think about what you can do to create like an infrastructure or a support system or accountability or something that's going to help you know that every day you're moving forward in this category of your life, and that you're making progress. And don't beat yourself up. I was I was pretty ruthless when I used to do this. I would fail myself in multiple categories every week. I was pretty ruthless. I was definitely in imbalanced energy then. I was imbalanced, like more masculine energy than feminine. I was such a hard driving energy. Thankfully, I have healed a lot of that, and I think I have a much more balanced energy about myself at the moment, where my feminine and masculine energy are, I believe, pretty balanced. I could be delusional. Who knows? I could be, lying to myself, but I feel balanced in both areas of those. I definitely do try to nurture both my feminine and masculine energy every day, I'm sure. And if any of you don't know that, everybody has both masculine and feminine energy. So, and just living a life that is more balanced just keeps me happy, joyful, and grounded and centered. So anyway, I just wanted to share that tweak with you, because I have to be honest with you, like I said, I know this is like really, really extreme, and it seems like so crazy that someone would do this, but I gotta be honest with you, and I have an entire binder full of it with my 5-year typed written plan, my 3-page life list that's typed and color coded of all the adventures I want to do in my life, whatever. But that's just what works for me. You got to figure out what works for you. But I definitely know without a shadow of a doubt, embracing this structure and this discipline and this accountability week in and week out, where I had to grade myself and really be on top of it, and owning my shit week in and week out was hugely transformational for me in terms of helping me close the gap between who I used to be in 2007 when I started this practice and now in 2020. So I hope you found value in that. Have a beautiful day, and I look forward to speaking with you again soon. Thanks. Bye.